Welcome to a new episode of the Guru Perspective, and I am the host, the Guru himself. I would like to say thank you all for chiming in, and I definitely want to make sure I get this clear too as well. I appreciate everything you guys do, the love and support, and everybody who chimes in. Please, if you got any friends out there who really like sports and want to hear it from me or anyone else, man, the first thing I would like to say, if you appreciate and you like the show, please, share the show, click on the link, like and subscribe. First and foremost, that means a lot because my fan page on YouTube has definitely been growing. I got a lot of followers, and I think that now this is a time where I'm taking it more serious and want to give this approach and say thank you all. Before I even really get started on talking sports, now that that's out the way, let's get down to business. I'm going to talk about everything right now, what's going on in the NBA. You got the 2-2 series, and I want to start off with those first. And the San Antonio series with, OKC has been everything I expected it to be. But sometimes, no disrespect when I say this to a lot of NBA fans. Yeah, trust me, my homeboys on Facebook, I see a lot of their posts. And, my boy, Rob Wright, man, Robert Wright was saying that he's really tired of seeing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander flopping, and he do it every game, and it's just basically taking away the integrity of the game, if you ask me, because I feel like he's a great player. He's a two-time MVP, but when you jump up, you kick your feet out, you fall on the ground, and you try everything you could to get contact to go to the free throw line, man, and you flop on almost, like, I'm gonna say on his plays, 85 to 90% of the plays, he's shooting the ball, he's falling into people, he's running into people. On one play that I seen in particular, not so long ago, if I'm not mistaken, it was game 3. He shot a jumper, he kicked his legs up, he tried to spread his arms, and De'Aaron Fox just kind of sidestepped and move out the way. And you've seen him sidestep him. He didn't even touch this guy, and they called a foul. I just feel like sometimes that gets exhausted, man. I'm old school, and maybe I might be too old school, but how do you guys feel about these flops and some of these bad plays that's going on? I've seen it with Cleveland, with the Detroit series. Not making any excuses, but still, you're seeing this happen on the regular. You had your James Hardys who do that. He was one of the originators, but he didn't take it to the next level like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did. And it just really takes away, man. It's exhausting to me to see these bad plays and just things going on and all these calls and the players complaining to the refs, man. Whatever happened to the best two teams playing the best two teams and playing their best players and going at it for the pride of the game just to get, the credit of we're the best, we're the best and we want to play the best. Until we get that back in the game, we're going to have this crazy Euro League crap that we've been having lately. I don't really want to go on the rant and say too much about it, but game 1, I'm going to give you guys a flashback. Surprisingly enough, to me, it was a really good game, but I said this game can go either way. And San Antonio ended up taking that first game. The second game was a surprise to me. Well, it shouldn't have been because they ended up coming out and they came out swinging in OKC. They couldn't afford to go down 0-2 in this series against a team like San Antonio Spurs. The third game was the one that surprised me. That's what I should have said, because San Antonio Spurs came out swinging. They had like a 15-0 run at the beginning of the game. The crowd was hype. It was a ruckus atmosphere. Really loved the game of what was going on and what I was seeing. OKC had 76 points off the bench along with the starters. I just think it was a little too much for the San Antonio Spurs. They overwhelmed those guys. It surprised the heck out of me because they gave them a haymaker and gave them all they can handle. But then they took that haymaker, they got back up and kept fighting. They ended up being in a slugfest. But, OKC made a mockery of that game because it was a laugher at the end, because at first it looked like San Antonio was going to run away with it. OKC took that game and ran away with it. So I said, yeah, they needed that first game in San Antonio. But they made sure they handled business that fourth game. The fourth game was actually pretty good as well. But I think that when they took off in that game, they started to correct some of the calls and the bad flops that, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander been having. I mean, you guys call it what you want. If you don't like what I'm saying, hit up them comments, man, because I feel like he's flopping and everybody see it. I'm not the only person to see him flop, man, and who's frustrated with his game. I mean, come on now, you guys. I just want a good series, and it is a good series. But the falling and the bad calls and some of the stuff in the game, as I'm not really liking. I want to see the best play the best, and Wemby and the San Antonio Spurs play the basketball game the way I'm used to seeing. They kind of got that old school San Antonio vibe with Martino, what's my man's name? Oh no, Manu Ginobili. I'm sorry, it's Manu Ginobili with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker. Those guys, man. Robert Horry, some of those fantastic San Antonio teams. But when the series is 2-2 right now, so the funny thing is, I will give my prediction about the game tonight because whoever usually win this game, they'll go on and win the series. So I want to see what this game is going to be played at as well. That's going to be important to me to see and look and see where they're going to be at. Which, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that they won't be in San Antonio. They'll be back in Oklahoma. Let me check that out right quick so I can have everything correct. Yes, they're back in OKC. So, yeah, I want to see how that game is played. Will San Antonio be able to steal another game in Oklahoma, or will it be they go up 3-2? And that's going to be a scary situation. I still feel like whoever wins is going to probably be the champion, but not as much as I did before. I had people say they disagree because they felt like the East Coast or the Eastern Conference have a weaker division, which I agree with. But at the same time, I believe they'll get a couple games out of it. Whoever the Knicks play, spoiler alert, just in case you didn't know that already, but I feel like they'll get a game or two. I'm going to go with two. I'm strongly believing that the New York Knicks will get 2 games in this series. That's just my opinion. And then we had the Eastern Conference Finals. Didn't really have too much to say about it because it was a sweep. And New York has been making crazy history right now. They won 11 games straight. They swept the Philadelphia 76ers, and they turned around and they did the exact same thing in this series. The first game in New York, they came out sluggish, and they were down really bad. They were down 24 points in the fourth quarter and came back and managed to win that game. That's when I said, wow, man, that was really surprising to me. It was entertaining because you thought for sure that Cleveland had that first game. Okay, so we move on after that, and they handled business the second game in New York. It was a little bit to the point where they came out swinging that game, but then it was still too much New York. The fast breaks they get, because what I've been seeing in the game too, the transition defense has been horrible for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They'll go down and they'll score on their end and they will jog. They won't even run back down. You've seen a lot of times where score beats, like they'll score a basket, whether it's Donovan Mitchell or whoever on the team score a bucket. And once they score that bucket, New York will hurry up, pass the ball out, and they'll throw it down court deep. They'll get up and they'll get an open layup, or they get like easy baskets. And they've been doing that for a while now. Yes, I understand that the Cleveland Cavaliers had 2 game 7s that they played. Let that be said. You had 2 back-to-back game 7s. That's not easy to endure. But, I just feel like, where's the pride at, man? You guys, whenever you score, you need to get back on the other end as soon as possible. Don't jog, don't drift or coast down to the opposite basket, because when I seen last night was disgusting, man. 26 fast break points in the first half, in the first 2 quarters of that game. And that's when I felt like, okay, I think that Cleveland gave up. They gave up on us on this one for sure. Because that third game, they fought until they couldn't fight no more. But when I seen it was 3-0, that's when I said there's going to be a problem. And that's what happened yesterday. It got to the point where Cleveland looked like they came out swinging. They were up by like 6 at one point. New York came and they got in a rhythm, and then they just basically beat them down and didn't look back. 26 half-time break points, fast break points. You telling me you get 26 fast break points? I don't see that sometimes in the whole game. And New York had 26 by the half. And then after the half, they showed a little bit of life. The only person I seen on that actual team seemed like they wanted to continue or to put up a good fight was Donovan Mitchell, because he was scoring. He was doing good as far as the perimeter shooting, the 3-point line. He was getting in, and he was making good layups. He played like he wanted to be there, and he wanted to try to make competition out of this series. But I didn't really see that from a lot of other people, man. They had their heads hanging down. Jared Allen didn't play as good as he normally would. And it just seemed like James Harden just disappeared. Like people always tend to say that they know he will. He did well in that last series against the Pistons, but yeah, we knew at some point we was going to see James Harden on the milk carton. And this series, he didn't really show up. He did okay those first couple games, but it seemed like they all was just, saying, well, let's pack it up and let's leave, and, let's, get this series over with. Because last night was despicable to see how they played, and just, I don't feel like they put too much pride into what they were doing. And then to lose by like 30 some points too, that was embarrassing. And the Knicks had a few games, I think 3 games where they beat a team by 30 plus points too in this series. So I was just really ashamed for the Cleveland Cavaliers, because you got this far just to lay an egg. Yes, you had those 2 game sevens, and I would definitely continue to comfortably say that, but I just felt like that they should have did better, and they should have put up a better fight. And then we have the game tonight. Usually, like I said, the person or the team who wins that game 5 goes on and win the series. And at this point, too, they have OKC as a 3.5 point favorite. I wouldn't be surprised anyway who it go to, because that's too close for comfort. That's just basically saying it could be anybody's game, but they're giving them that leverage because they're at home. I'm going to, surprisingly enough, go ahead and say San Antonio surprise them tonight. I think that they're going to shock them, and I think they're going to take this next game and possibly move on to go to the NBA Finals to play the New York Knicks. A healthy New York Knicks team who'd have had 2 sweeps and going to be licking their chops, because right now I think this is a slugfest in the West, and I think that they're going to be licking their wounds, whoever make it out of this. But yes, I went from saying that it could possibly be like an embarrassing sweep, or New York possibly get 1 game. Hell, now I'm saying New York can possibly get 2 or more games in this series right now. That being said, I just still feel like it's going to be a good series in the West, besides some of the flopping and some of the mockery of the game. But I have been enjoying the basketball as of late. And then I definitely felt like with the Knicks, what they're doing right now with Mike Brown is incredible, because at the beginning of the season, it seemed like the Pistons had their number, and then they adjusted. All they needed was time in Mike Brown's system, because their defense is on another level right now. And that's the one thing that was missing from the New York Knicks teams that we haven't seen in a while, was great defense. And they always had great defense in the day when I was watching them in the 90s. With the Patrick Ewings and your John Starks, the Oakley, my man's Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, they had some really good teams, some physical good teams. That being said, I definitely can't forget about my boy AJ and Allen Houston, man, when they had some of those good rosters, pretty good memories. But still, this is the best I've seen as far as defensively. And if I'm not mistaken, they said it's been well over 20 years since the New York Knicks has even been into a final. So, yeah, I definitely want to see how this come, see the outcome of this one. I'm really happy, because of the fact is, I do like the way the Knicks has been playing, but people don't think that they're going to match up with these Western Conference teams. I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that the Knicks can at least get 1 or 2 games? I'm going to go with 2. Like I said, man, hit me up in those comments. I want to go on too, because I wanted this to be kind of brief. I didn't want to draw this out. The weather's getting nice outside, man. I want to, relax and enjoy this beautiful day. But at the same time, I want to get into what I always get into, and that's some of the stats that's going on around the WNBA and the NBA as well. Let me start off by saying on May the 19th, Marina Mabrey and Brittany Sykes are the first teammates in WNBA history to each record 30-plus points in a single game during the franchise first season. So that's a first. They've been doing really good for the Toronto Tempo, and Brittany Sykes has been on a whole nother level. She had 38 points. She turned around and had 31 points in that game on May the 19th. So, yeah, I'm definitely feeling like she's getting her footing. She's a veteran player who is getting the opportunity to score and play at will. Marina Mabrey has always been that girl, and she's always been one who can shoot the ball, and she's a really good, tough competitor as well. The Las Vegas Aces, Trinity Carter, last 5 games off the bench has been remarkable. This lady is scoring more than some starters at this point in the WNBA. Okay, she had 22 points, 2 steals, 9 of 13 field goals in 19 minutes in one game, 27 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 13 of 16 field goals in 25 minutes. 18 points, 2 steals, a block, 5 of 8 field goals in 22 minutes. She had 20 points, 3 assists on 7 of 13 field goals in 20 minutes, and 23 points, 3 assists, 8 of 13 field goals in 25 minutes. So she made the best of the opportunity she's getting. I believe at some point they should definitely consider try to get her as a starter. I'm just throwing that out there, but they need that lift off the bench because the Las Vegas Aces is already a scary team to face. But when you got Kennedy Carter on that team, and Kennedy Carter has been doing everything they asked her, I don't really know what the beef was and what type of animosity they had towards her. I've never really understood that. We was scratching our heads. It was a head scratcher that we didn't see her in the WNBA last season, but she made the best of the time she had when she went and played overseas, and now she's back and she's been on the tear. And I feel like right now this is a match made in heaven. I would like to see her continue her career with the Las Vegas Aces, but as good as she's been playing and how skilled as Kennedy Carter's been playing too, I wouldn't be surprised if next year she find a team and she do her own thing with that club and make that team better. This is the first time in NBA the game one of both conferences finals series went to overtime. So you had two, the Eastern and Western Conference finals, and they both went into overtime, which was actually pretty good and entertaining for me. But the difference was the Spurs and Thunder game went into double overtime, which was really good for me. It was good and theatrical. But on Monday, the Cavs and the Knicks game went into overtime as well. It was pretty cool, like I was saying, too, because at first they basically looked like they was just about to get whopped on that game. They were just about to get punched in the mouth game one, the New York Knicks being said. And being down like that, I said, yeah, man, I didn't want to watch it at first. But then it started getting to the point where they start chipping at that lead. Then when they got down to 2 points, I said, yeah, man, there's still enough time to where they can try to force this into overtime or even win in regulation. They ended up taking it into overtime, and they didn't look back. So, yeah, it was an embarrassing game for the Cavs. And, yeah, I know they played 2 game sevens, but, man, have some type of dignity, man, because I was embarrassed for them. But after what happened with all them bogus calls and how the refs kind of, played a big part in us losing, I can't say because, we got to go out there and we still got to play the game because you play to win the game from my man's Herm Edwards, of course. But at the same time, man, there was a lot of cheap calls in those games in that series. So that being said, man, to get swept like that, shame on you guys. Jalen Brunson sparked one of the NBA greatest postseason comebacks, period. It was basically rallied by a 22-point deficit in the fourth quarter. And he finished with 38 points. New York beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 115-104 in overtime. And that was on that Tuesday in game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks ended the game on a 44-11 run. No other NBA team in the last 20 years has recorded at least 44 of the game's final 55 in regular or like in the overtime. Since joining the Knicks prior to the 2022-2023 season, Jalen Brunson leads all players in postseason points with 1,531. His 29.4 points per game in the playoffs in that span leads the Eastern Conference, while Donovan Mitchell has 27.3 points per game. That was since 2022-2023, ranked second. in minutes, 20 minutes per game minimum. So you had two of the best playing each other. And I'm not still taking nothing away from Donovan Mitchell because that dude got that dog in him. He played great when they needed him. He has some problems and he struggled before. But then last night he showed he still wanted to be there. It was just everybody else kind of gave up on him. And Jared Allen played okay. I thought that he would have played much better, especially after coming off the 20 something point game when they finished off the Pistons in the last semi-finals round. It just didn't materialize. It was just like they had their heads down. They were dragging. They wasn't doing what they should, getting back on defense when, the fast break points escalated with the Knicks. And that's the reason why I feel like they're at home right now. The Knicks have a plus 271 point differential in 14 games in the postseason. That is the highest scoring margin by a team entering the NBA Finals and the highest in a 14-game playoff span all time. They keep making history right now, but how good would it be, or would it even matter once they get to the finals? Because I still feel like they got a fighter's chance right now. Well, before I thought they had no chance in hell. The Knicks are the first team to win 3 series clinching games by 30-plus points in a single postseason. Plus 51 versus the Hawks, plus 30 versus the 76ers, and plus 37 versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let me get into some of the Western Conference statistics now and some of the stats. Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle, and Dylan Harper have each scored 175-plus points in the postseason. The 25-26 Spurs are the second team that has 3 players 22 years old or younger do so in a single postseason all time. 2010 and 2011 was Mr. Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, and of course yours truly, James Harden. The Thunder are the only team in the NBA in the last 20 years to allow the first 15 or more points in a game, but ended up winning by 15 or more points, regular or in overtime in the postseason. The Knicks have outscored their opponents by 111 points over the last 4 games. Road playoff games, 506 to 395. That is the largest point margin differential over any 4-game road span in NBA postseason history. Can they keep this up, though? Because, yes, no disrespect. Like I said, the East is not really as competitive as the West. We'll see once one of these juggernauts come out of this one, whether it be the Spurs or OKC, would they be able to match up? Like I said, they got Mitchell Robinson and they have Cat over there, Karl Anthony Towns. So I believe that they'll match up pretty good. But one thing that I believe too, and this was discussed with me and my co-host of the Wednesday show, the Guru Sports Session, will there others, the guys that's coming off the bench and the players who don't get all the limelight, will be able to step up in this series, like the Jose Alvarados, Shannon, a lot of those guys on the bench? Would they be able to come out there and like the Jordan Clarksons and perform like they have been in the Eastern Conference in the West? That's what I want to see. Okay, and May the 24th, 2026 was Victor Wembanyama's second postseason game with at least 30 points. He made 3 3-pointers and had 3 blocks. There's only 2 players in NBA history with multiple games as such, postseason games before turning 23. Take a good guess. One of them is Anthony Edwards and the next one is Kevin Durant. And they both had 2 each. So at this point, I would like to say thank you for everybody who chime in, who spend time, checking up on me, listening to the sports podcast. I would like to say thank you. It means a lot to me. I would like for you guys to click like and subscribe. For the most part, if you have friends out there who are sports fanatics and sports fans as well, share the link with them and tell them to go to the YouTube page, click like and subscribe too. I highly appreciate it. I would like to give shouts out to the Nighthawk Network for making this possible. Thank you, E-Buck and the Nighthawk Network. And I would like to say I appreciate all the family and friends and loved ones. You know who you are. I hope you all had a happy holiday this Memorial Day. And I would like to say I will definitely be back next week with some more sports. It's getting closer to the NBA about to be over with soon. And I know a lot of people probably like, well, what are you going to be talking about then, Hugh? I'm going to talk a little bit more integrated, make more WNBA talk when I talk more about the sports. Definitely going to lean a little heavier on the WNBA, and I'm going to talk about some baseball and give my baseball stats because that's one of my favorite sports and it's close to our heart. And I love talking about me some baseball right now because there's been a lot of good stuff going on in baseball. You know, like Jacob Mezorowski, man, how he's been doing. He has like out of the time that he's been playing, 19 of the fastest thrown pitches in any game. And one of the other players is, of course, Justin Verlander, but he got some good stuff out here, man. He has 100 strikeouts already this season, and there's a lot of good stuff that's happening in baseball, and I've been pretty proud of, and I hold high to, you know, as far as the sports fan. But at this time, I would like to say you could catch me on my social media pages, Hoovi, WHOOVI. That's my Instagram page. Sports Guru to You is my Facebook page where I put a lot of breaking news and a lot of things going on, like the sports and the game time finals. Hugh.Lee6 is where I put a lot of my promos and my production and the different things as far as the advertisement for our shows. And of course, you could get with me too at Hugh Lee on my YouTube page as well. You know, like I said, go to my YouTube link, click like and subscribe. I appreciate you all. I would like to say have a blessed day. And like we always say, peace, don't stress, let the Lord handle the rest. It's been some stressful times every now and then, you know, guys, and we all going through something. But like I said, man, let's just try to keep God first, man, and keep it moving. But I thank you all for the love and support as well. And till then, I will see you next week.